Good morning to everyone. I believe you're all doing good. We are starting in just 10 seconds. The topic we are going to treat is segnale di divieto, signs of prohibition. This is the theory. Make sure you like the video and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Okay, let's move forward. So, the segnale di divieto is part of segnale di prescrizione. Let's pray. Father, we thank you. We give you all the praise. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen. So, segnale di divieto is part of segnale di prescrizione. Now, prescrizione has to deal with segnale di obbligo, precedenza, and divieto. I repeat, segnale di prescrizione has to deal with segnale di divieto, di obbligo, and di precedenza. Very good. Okay. Do not forget the topic we are treating is segnale di divieto, which is prohibition sign. Okay. Let's move forward. So yesterday we treated precedenza and obbligo. So now we are dealing with segnale di divieto. So the segnale di divieto, as we can see, there are really many. But we will finish all today. Okay. When we are finished doing all the theory of all the topics, then we start with the quiz of all the topics. Let's move forward. Now, the first sign we are seeing here is the sign of stop. Okay, meaning no one is allowed to stop. And the sign of stop is valid for what? 24 hours. Okay, 24 hours. So every time it is valid. Now, let me remove the number there so that we can see this sign clear. So this sign also, what are they telling us? It simply means prohibition of parking at the specific time that is written below the segnale di divieto di sosta. Why? Because they will be cleaning the road. They will be cleaning the road. Now, divieto di transito, which is prohibition of transit. What does it mean? No one is allowed to transit there. No vehicle is allowed, either bicycle, cars, motorbike, tractor, is not allowed to pass where this sign is positioned. Here it is. Okay, divieto di transito. So, only pedestrians are allowed to transit there. So here you see what I just told you, that divieto di transito, the prohibition of transit is for who? It is for cars, motorbike, bicycle, and what? Scooter. So do you see? Do you see what is going on here? Pedestrians are allowed to pass, but cars are not allowed to transit there. It can also be positioned with segnali pannelli integrativi, which is the one with the cross, with the time 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I repeat, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., meaning prohibition of transit on festive days, Saturday, Sunday, and other festive days. Okay. Meanwhile, on other days, we are allowed to transit there. Divieto di transito per autotreni ed auto articolati, which is prohibition of transit for the vehicles that are designed on the panel. So autotreni and auto articolati are not allowed to transit on this road. That's the meaning of this sign. So here it is. You see that the articulator and autotreno cannot go straight forward. They have to turn to the left because the prohibition says straight ahead they cannot go. So they are under obligation to turn to the left side at the sign dare precedenza of the intersection. Is that clear for everyone? Senso vietato. What is the meaning? Prohibition of entering in this direction. You cannot enter by this direction. That's the meaning of senso vietato. Okay, so the senso vietato simply means you cannot enter by this direction, but vehicles can come out from this direction. So this sign is also positioned and known as a one-way direction road. So it is also positioned where? On a one-way direction road, because that is what it really means. And if what I'm saying is true, you can confirm it yourself. You can see on the screen, okay? On the screen, you can see it right there, exactly where the blue car is, that it has the senso unico sign, which is the one sense of circulation sign. Okay, good morning, Madam Helen. So that is the proof that the senso vietato is also positioned, or it is actually positioned on a one-way direction road. Good morning, Mr. Maxwell. Very good. So every other vehicle is not allowed to enter through that direction. So just as I said, when you see the sign, cars, motorbikes, scooter, bicycles are not allowed to enter by that direction. And it works or positioned together with the one sense of circulation sign. It does not mean you are not allowed to circulate there. It simply means entering through that direction is not allowed. That is all that it really means. Good morning, Mr. Wazdi, Mr. Amidu, Mr. Merak, MK, Annabelle, Chuck, Ezeulu, Jenomoye, Isa, Mahud. Good morning. Divieto di transito and senso vietato. Now, they are together here for us to understand the differences between the two. Pretty good. Good morning. Blessing. Good morning. The first one, which is divieto di transito, that one means you are not allowed to transit here at all. Senso vietato means you cannot enter through this direction, just as I showed you. Jimo, good morning. Divieto di sorpasso. Many people get it twisted, but it's actually very simple. And now you will see. Just as I've been telling you for 30 years. Car cannot overtake another car. So simple. Isn't that what I told you? Car cannot overtake another car. So who can overtake who? Now, before we will see who can overtake who, I want you to consider that below the sign of divieto di sorpasso, it also has something very important, which is pannelli integrativi with two arrows going up and going down, meaning the road whereby we are not allowed to make overtaking. Miracle, 30 years. That road continuous. Now, Mr. Merak, if you say unlimited, unlimited is wrong. That's why people fail the test, because they write at the quiz, they should write the word illimitata. It is falso, which is unlimited. But what they write is what? Continua. Divieto di sorpasso, it is what? Continuous on this simple road. That's what this means. Okay, that is what this sign simply means. Now let's move forward. Car cannot overtake car. So let's see who can overtake who then. Again, car cannot overtake car by entering into the opposite direction. Also, when the line is tratteggiata or continua, car can still not overtake car. Now, let's see who can overtake who. Look at this carefully. Veicoli che non possono essere sorpassati in presenza del segnale divieto di sorpasso. Meaning, vehicles that car cannot overtake them, or vehicles that we cannot overtake are these vehicles. Tutti gli autoveicoli inclusi. Tutti gli autoveicoli inclusi. In this manner, you can fail. Tutti gli autoveicoli inclusi. Autobus, macchine agricole, macchine operatrici, macchine a motore elettrico. So car cannot overtake all these vehicles we see on the right side. Is that clear for everyone? Let me know if it is clear before we move forward. Talk to me. Talk to me. Okay. If that is clear, then let's move forward. Now, the vehicles that we can overtake. When I say we, I mean we that are driving cars. Veicoli che possono essere sorpassati in presenza del segnale divieto di sorpasso. These are the vehicles that can be overtaken. Bicicletta, ciclomotore, motociclo, veicolo a braccia, veicolo a trazione animale, veicolo a trazione animale. I repeat, vehicles that cars can overtake are bicycles, scooter, motociclo, vehicles that are being pulled by hands, and vehicles that are being driven by animals. So it's so simple, okay? So simple. These are all the vehicles that can be overtaken. So this is the example again. Good morning, Godwin. On the left side, these are the vehicles that cannot be overtaken. Okay? On the right side, which is the green one, this is the vehicles that motorbike can overtake. I want you to watch this carefully, because if not, you will be twisting what I'm teaching you into another thing, and you will fail the exams, and you come and tell me this is not what the teacher taught us. Listen carefully. What I showed you was a car overtaking the things that a car can overtake and vehicles that a car cannot overtake. I repeat, what I showed you, if you watched it carefully, it is the vehicles that cars can overtake and vehicles that cars cannot overtake. Here, we are seeing a different thing. This one is showing us what the vehicles that a motorbike can overtake and vehicles that a motorbike cannot overtake. Don't get it twisted, because the questions, if you are not careful, you will say the teacher is teaching something else. Now, if you don't know something, you don't know it. Okay? So, a motorbike cannot overtake vehicles that has from 3 tires and above. That is what the first motorbike means. It means a motorbike cannot overtake a vehicle that has from 3 tires, that has engine and above. On the right side, we are seeing the right thing, which is a motorbike can overtake what? A bicycle. A motorbike can overtake what? Another vehicle without what? Engine. Do not get it twisted. Okay? Okay. So this is just the continuation of the sign. After a junction, the sign of divieto, it stops working. I repeat, after the sign of divieto, after the crossing of the junction, the prohibition of overtaking, it ends. That is why it must repeat itself on the next junction. So you realize the first one has the 2 arrows below, one going up, one going downwards. But the divieto of overtaking starts from the first one we are seeing here. The first one without any panel below. The first one without any panel below. The first one that does not have the 2 arrows. It starts from there. Then it repeats itself ahead having two arrows below, meaning the prohibition of overtaking, car overtaking a car, it continues, it keeps on going. Is that clear? Fine del divieto di sorpasso. Melody, Marvel, good morning. Melody, I'm waiting for you to join. Fine del divieto di sorpasso. Now, within 5 minutes, I'm going to cover the teaching from YouTube. So YouTube people cannot see it. Only those that are part of the class. Just 5 minutes, I'll be covering it. Fine del divieto di sorpasso. Meaning end of the prohibition of overtaking. End of what? Of the prohibition of overtaking. Good morning, Mr. Mike. One and only Mike. So this sign, it also means fine di prescrizione. That's why you see it in the questions and they will say fine prescrizione. Fine prescrizione. Okay. Okay. Let's see it. So this is just what it means. Before, we are not allowed. It is not allowed for a car to overtake a car. Then the next one, it says fine, which is the end. So you see that it appears immediately after. Okay, it appears immediately after. Okay. So if it appears immediately after, it simply means the end of the prohibition of overtaking. The end of the prohibition of overtaking. So after that sign, you can overtake, meaning a car can overtake another car. So here it is the sign. We cannot overtake a car by entering in the opposite direction. Okay, because the line is what? Continua, which is continuous. It is what? Continua. So when the line is continuous, you cannot do overtaking by entering in the opposite direction. That does not mean you cannot do overtaking. Listen carefully. Here, they are just telling us the sign is not even present. The sign of overtaking is not, prohibition of overtaking sign is not even present here. Meaning, you cannot do overtaking even when the sign of prohibition of overtaking is not present. Because the continuous white line means you cannot do overtaking by entering in the opposite direction, so far as the line is continuous. Now, the line being continuous does not mean you cannot do overtaking. No. You can do it, but you are not allowed to enter in the opposite direction. Very simple. Okay. Massa a pieno carico superiore a 3.5 tonnellate. What does it mean? you cannot overtake. That is a camion. A camion that is heavier than 3.5 tons cannot overtake car. Now, this is specifically for vehicles that are transporting merci. So, if you are driving a camion and your weight is above 3.5 tons, you cannot overtake a car. But if you are driving a bus and your weight is far away, even heavier than 3.5 tons, you can overtake a car. Why? Because you are transporting people, persons, not merci. That is why trasporto persone is ticked with the green color, meaning a vehicle transporting persons or people can overtake a car. But a vehicle that transport material things, merci, cannot overtake what? Cannot overtake what? A car. Is that clear? Okay. I believe it is clear for everyone. If you're not part of the class, make sure you join. Okay, so here it is. You see, in the presence of that sign, the articulator vehicle cannot overtake the motorbike. Why? Why is that so? Okay, because motociclo is also a vehicle with what? Engine. Okay, so that's just where it works, how it works. I see somebody asking me, Mr. Godwin is saying, why is it like that? Because that's the law. There are things you cannot explain. It's just the law. That's how the law has made it. That's how they have made it. So it's not everything you can really say why this, why that. We just know what we are learning. That's all. Okay, so this one too is the same thing. Why is it that now this one can overtake those vehicles? Can somebody tell me why? It is only because of one thing. Yeah, Merak is saying, stop being behind the window. So if you want to join, better join. Yeah, of course. Very good, Godwin. Godwin says because they are without engine. Merak also says because they are without engine. Simple. So any other vehicle without engine, if we are driving a camion, which is heavier than 3.5 tons, we can overtake it. Why? Because they are vehicles without engine. They don't have an engine. Very simple. Well done, Mr. Amidu. Mr. Mike, well done. That's just the meaning. Now, massa pieno carico superiore a 3.5 tonnellate. The weight of your vehicle is written on the carta di circolazione, which is the libretto. The product and the kind of things you transport, the type of vehicle, your engine capacity, everything is written in the libretto. That is how you know the weight of your vehicle and how much you can carry. Okay, so these are informations in your libretto. Now, just as I told you before, a bus can overtake an articulator vehicle in the presence of this sign. Why? Because a bus transports person, human beings, and not material things. Meanwhile, this prohibition is for vehicles that transport material things. Simple. That is all that it means. Again, in the questions you used to see this. Camper, van, can they overtake an articulated vehicle in the presence of this sign? Many of you fail it. Now you know, yes, they can do that, overtake it. Because camper van transport what? Person, human beings, not material things. Is that clear? Now, fine del divieto di sorpasso per autocarri superiori a 3.5 tonnellate. So the end of the prohibition of a camion not being allowed to overtake a car. So this is the end. Let's see how the end looks like. Okay, so this is the end. This is how it looks like. So before you see the continuous and then ahead, you just see the end of it. Okay, very simple. So because the end is ahead, you see that the camion overtakes what? The car. So simple. Make sure you like the video. Okay. Distanziamento minimo obbligatorio 70 metri, meaning on this road we are under obligation to keep a distance from one vehicle to the other of 70 meters distance. This is it. Okay, 70 meters distance, which is the minimum distance that we ought to keep. 70. It can be more, but it shouldn't be less. I repeat, it can be more. It shouldn't be less. Very simple. Limite massimo di velocità, high speed limit that we are allowed to go. So in the presence of this sign, we cannot go more than 80. Okay, we can go less, but not more than 80 kilometers per hour. Do not forget it. Okay. Of course, if you go more than 80, what happens? They will definitely bring multa at your door. So when that one happens, don't murmur. Fine del limite massimo di velocità di 50 km/h, meaning the end of the high speed limit. So in the presence of this sign, we can go more than 50, more than 60, more than 70 because the end, this is the end of the high speed limit. So it can be positioned close to working areas or areas whereby we are allowed to accelerate even more. Divieto di segnalazioni acustiche, which is prohibition of using the horn of your vehicle. This sign is located where? Close to cities, hospitals, and schools. Close to cities, hospitals, and schools. So here it is. Pronto Soccorso Hospital. Okay. So we don't have to make noise at these areas. Very good. And also close to hospitals and in the city, in order not to disturb the civilians. Divieto di transito ai pedoni, prohibition of transit, meaning pedestrians are not allowed to transit on this type of road. Cuneta, Dosso, Carreggiata, Corsia, we are not allowed to transit there or to pass there. Okay, meanwhile, every other vehicle is allowed to pass there, because one thing you must not forget is the fact that the prohibitions, all the prohibitions we are seeing, the circle red, what is designed in the circle red, that is what the prohibition specifically goes for. ok? Divieto di transito ai veicoli a braccia. Prohibition of transit for vehicles that are being pushed or pulled by human hands. Meaning vehicles that are being pushed or pulled by human hands are not allowed to transit. Meanwhile, every other vehicle is allowed to pass there. That's all that it means. Wilson says, let us like the video, Divieto di transito ai veicoli a trazione animale. Prohibition of transit for vehicles that are being pulled by animals. Okay, so you see they cannot circulate on this area, on this type of roads, okay, of the bus, of the tram. Meanwhile, every other vehicle is allowed to transit there. Okay. Okay. Are you learning something? If you are learning, write in the comment section. Yes, I'm learning. Yes, I'm learning. Yes, I'm learning. Divieto di transito alle biciclette, which is prohibition of transit for bicycles. So every bicycle, every kind of bicycle is not allowed to transit. So you see, this is where it is positioned. Very simple. Everywhere whereby the vehicles, the bicycles are not allowed to transit. Very simple. Okay. Divieto di transito ai motocicli, prohibition of transit for motorbikes. So all the motorbikes are not allowed to transit on this road. Now I want you to watch this thing carefully. If not, you fail the test. Do you see that all the other vehicles are allowed to transit except for the motorbike? Now, I want you to listen to what I'm about to say carefully. Do not consider a scooter as a motorbike, which is motociclo, because scooter is scooter, motociclo is motociclo. That is why in the diagram or on this image, scooter is allowed to pass there in the presence of this sign. Meanwhile, motorbike is not allowed to pass there because it is about the difference between the engine capacity. So every motorbike which is around 125 cm, I repeat, every motorbike which is around 125 cm3 cannot transit on this road. So scooter engine capacity is 50 cm3, 50 cm3. Is that clear? Okay. Divieto di transito ad autoveicoli e motoveicoli a 3 o più ruote. This one, two people get it confused. Let me explain it again. The sign simply means cars cannot pass here, cannot transit on this road. What do we mean by cars? We mean vehicles that has from 3 tires. I repeat, vehicles that has from 3 tires and above. Number 2, that also has engine cannot pass on this road. Basta. Let's see. So here it is, just as I told you. So you see, on the left side, we see what is not allowed to pass. So you see, I was not telling you stories. I was telling you reality. Transito vietato a tutti gli autoveicoli, all cars. Motoveicoli a tre ruote. Motor vehicles with three tires. Motor vehicle with also four tires cannot pass here. Which vehicles are they allowed to pass? Ciclomotori a due ruote, scooter with two tires, motorbike with two tires, and vehicles without engine also are allowed to transit on this road. Is that clear for everyone? Let me know if it is clear, okay? Write something in the comment section so that I know I'm teaching you something and you are not also sleeping online. So now, the divieto di transito ai autobus. What does it mean? Can anyone write in the comment section what this sign specifically means? After all that we have seen, you should know the meaning of this sign. Exactly. Mr. Merak, autobus is not allowed to transit. Okay, autobus is not allowed to transit or to pass on this road. Meanwhile, every other vehicle is allowed to pass. Let's see if what we are saying is right. So you see, where the sign is positioned, buses cannot pass there. So only buses are not allowed to pass there. Meanwhile, every other vehicle is allowed to pass. Well done, everyone. Mr. Mike, Amidu, Jenomoye, Merak, Godwin. Divieto di transito ai autocarri che superano 3,5 tonnellate. Now, articulated vehicles that are heavier than 3.5 tons are not allowed to pass on this road. Not overtake, to pass on this road, to transit there. So this is how it looks like. Okay. So articulated vehicles have to turn to the left because straightforward, only buses are allowed to pass or to transit. Very good. So be very careful in the quiz how the question is being asked. But they can even ask you that in the presence of this sign, empty articulated vehicles are allowed to pass there. It is false because at the end of the day, it is for articulated vehicles not to pass there, irrespective of their state. Divieto di transito agli autocarri che superano 6,5 tonnellate. So now articulated vehicles that are heavier than 6.5 tons cannot transit there. Okay, so you see, every other vehicle can transit there, but only articulated vehicles that are heavier than 6.5 tons cannot pass there. Mr. Mido, you are talking about a car. Why are you asking about a car? When I said the prohibition goes for only what is designed in the circle. Basta. Basta. So every other vehicle can pass there. Simple. It's so simple. Divieto di transito ai veicoli a motore trainanti un rimorchio, meaning vehicles that are towing trailers cannot what? Pass here. Okay. So here it is. Car cannot tow another vehicle. Articulated vehicles cannot pass there. Autotreno. This one, autocarro con rimorchio behind with its autotreno, also cannot pass there. Is that clear for everyone? This divieto, there are many. There are really many. These are the other vehicles that are allowed to pass there. Okay, no, not filobus. How do they call this one? The other one was autoarticolato. This one is autotreno. Eccolo. Autotreno. So this type of bus can pass there, and the car towing carrello appendice can pass there where the sign is positioned. Well done, Godwin. That is the right word. Autosnodato. Excellent. Autosnodato. Excellent. Good. Exactly that. Divieto di transito alle macchine agricole. Prohibition of transit for agricultural vehicles. So as you can see, here Mr. Godwin has helped me out because I forgot this word, autosnodato. That is just what it is. Teacher also can make a mistake. So here it is. Autosnodato. Like I said, we are all learning. So in this type of road, we articulated vehicles, or let me say agriculture vehicles, okay, tractor is not allowed to pass on the right side, but that's where the prohibition is positioned. Okay, so it's very, very important we get this right inside our head. Very good. Do not forget the prohibition is for only what is designed inside the circle. Now, watch this carefully. In the presence of this sign, tractors cannot pass. But this vehicle on the right side is allowed to pass because of what? It is not a tractor, but it is vehicular per lavorazione. Vehicle that is being used to work or to work on the road. They are allowed to pass there, but tractors are not allowed to pass there. Divieto di transito ai veicoli che trasportano merci pericolose. Prohibition of transit for vehicles that are transporting dangerous products. Cannot pass here. It can be transportation of fuel, gas products. The sign we see behind 33-1203, it represents the type of danger it is transporting. It is the type of what danger the tank vehicle is transporting. Do not get it twisted. It is a prohibition only for vehicles that are transporting dangerous products, not explosives. I repeat, not explosives, but dangerous products. Because vehicles that transport explosives and flammable things, their prohibition is this. Their prohibition is this sign. So as you can see, divieto di transito ai veicoli che trasportano esplosivi o infiammabili. Vehicles that transport explosives and flammable things cannot pass on this road. Simple. Okay, so you see, they cannot go straight forward. Very good. So here you see that since this vehicle is transporting explosives, it cannot go straight. It has to turn by force. Very good. Now, many people get twisted this sign also. What does it mean? It is divieto di transito ai veicoli che trasportano sostanze inquinanti per l'acqua. Now, what I just read is just the name of the sign. Divieto di transito ai veicoli che trasportano sostanze inquinanti per l'acqua. So when I tell you to learn the name of the signs, I'm just helping you. Because the name of the sign itself explains it. Meaning, vehicles that transport things or liquid that can easily contaminate water cannot pass here. So if the tank is empty, let's think carefully. If the tank is empty, it can transit on that road where the sign is positioned. Did I make myself clear here? I said, if the tank is empty, it can do what? Transit where the sign is positioned because it is empty. There's no danger. There's nothing in it. Is that clear? So this is where you find it, close to rivers, seas, okay? Divieto di transito ai veicoli più larghi di 2 metri in 30 e 30. Meaning vehicles that are prohibition of transit for vehicles that are larger than 2.30 meters. They cannot pass on this road. So this is where it is positioned. Okay. Your vehicle should not be larger than 2.30 meters. If it is larger than that, it is not allowed to pass on this road. Very good. So do you see that the one in front, which is 2 meters, is allowed to cross or to pass there? Why? Because its largeness, it is what, 2 meters. Meanwhile, the one that is being cancelled with the big red X is what? 2.5 meters, which is 2.50 meters large. Okay, 2.50 meters. So it is more than 2.30 meters. So it cannot pass there. So simple. I'm glad you are learning something. Divieto di transito ai veicoli alti più di 3,50 metri. Prohibition of transit for vehicles that are higher or taller than 3.50 meters. Let's check it out. So you see, l'autobetoniera is what? 4 meters tall. 4 meters tall in height. Meanwhile, the container is 3.50 meters tall. So the 3.50 meters tall can pass, but the 4 meters tall vehicle cannot pass on that, under that bridge. So you have to be careful and know the height of your vehicle before moving it. It's very important. Divieto di transito ai veicoli o complessi di veicoli più lunghi di 10 metri. Meaning prohibition of transit of complex of vehicles that are longer than 10 meters. That are longer than what? 10 meters. So if your vehicle is longer than 10 meters, any vehicle at all, longer than 10 meters cannot what? Transit on this road. So simple. So yeah, it is. So if the bus is more than 10 meters, it cannot pass there. If the articulator lorry is more than 16 meters or 10 meters, it cannot pass there. So the only one that can pass there is the one on the left side, which is 10 meters, exactly the length they are looking for. Okay. Ok. Divieto di transito a tutti i veicoli di massa superiore a 7 tonnellate. Vehicles that are heavier than 7 tons cannot pass here. Vehicles that are heavier than 7 tons are not allowed to pass on this road where the sign is positioned. Here it is. Any vehicle heavier than 7 tons is not allowed. Either a bus or camion, articulator vehicle, tractor, anyone that is heavier than 7 tons cannot pass here. If not, you break the bridge. So now you know even where these signs are positioned, which is normally on top of a bridge. So simple. Okay. No, these things are logical things. Why would they say a vehicle heavier than 7 tons cannot pass here? Which type of road are they talking about? Logically, you have to sit down and think about it. That's how you realize it has to be a bridge. There's no other way. It has to be a bridge. Okay, it has to be a bridge. All the signs, if you sit down and think about it well, logically, you can pass everything. Just reason about it. Why would they say a vehicle larger than 2.5, 2.50 meters or 2.30 meters cannot pass on a road? Why? It has to be a tunnel or under a bridge. It has to be a tunnel or under a bridge. It has to be one of these things. Why? Because the ordinary road is open wide. So simple. Now, why would they say a vehicle taller than 3 meters cannot pass on a road? Because it is under a bridge. Logically, you have to think through the signs. You get it all. You get all correct. Divieto di transito a tutti i veicoli di massa per asse superiore a 2.5 tonnellate. This one is not the weight of the vehicle. It is the weight per axle, the weight according to the axle. Okay, so the weight per axle here is, one axle is 2.15 meters or 2.5 meters. Here it is. So if the weight per axle is 2.50 meters, it has to be what? A bridge. Okay, it has to be a bridge. So if the weight is more than 2.50 meters or 5 meters, sorry, 2.5 tons, if it is more than 2.5 tons, it cannot pass the 2.5 tons, which is the weight, it cannot pass that. Is that clear? Are you learning something? Yes or no? Because like you are quiet. Talk to me. Talk to me. Write something. Let me know you are there. You are not sleeping. Okay. Via libera. What is via libera? Via libera is the end of the prohibition. Meaning, whatever prohibition you saw before is no more at work. This is the end of that prohibition. So this is what it means. He said, you see, before they are saying a car cannot overtake a car, then you cannot go also more than 40 kilometers per hour. Then after you see the via libera, meaning all these prohibitions are no more working anymore, unless you see another prohibition. So in the presence of this sign, what you see is that after you see this sign, in the questions, they can ask you, in presenza del segnale raffigurato, ripristina la prescrizione sulla strada. Ripristina la prescrizione. Sulla strada. Ok? Let's move forward. Divieto di fermata. Prohibition of what? I can't hear you. Say it. I can't hear you. Divieto di what? Fermata. Meaning what? Prohibition of stopping. So you cannot stop on this road. Okay? You are not allowed to stop on this road. Here it is. All these vehicles, they have to move them away because they are not allowed to stop. Very simple. The sign works immediately after. I repeat, the sign works immediately what? After the sign is positioned. So we cannot stop where the sign is positioned. In Italian language, what does it mean to stop? It means to stop your vehicle for 14 minutes. 14 minutes. If it is above the 14 minutes, it means it is considered as sosta. Sosta. Now, this thing I'm saying, it looks new to you, but I have been saying it in the topic of divieto. I said, divieto di fermata means you cannot stop here. Okay, and stopping simply means to stop your vehicle for an amount of 14 minutes. If it is more than 40 minutes, it is considered here in Italy, according to what we are learning, it is considered as sosta, which is parking. Okay. So, like I said, the blue car cannot stop before the divieto di fermata. Okay. Okay. Why? Because below the stop, we have the arrow that goes downwards. When the arrow goes downwards, what does it mean at all? It simply means the end. It means the end of the prohibition of stopping. So, we cannot stop there where the blue car is, but we can stop after the end. We can stop where? After the end. Is that clear? Okay. Divieto di sosta, prohibition of what? I can't hear you. Prohibition of parking. Prohibition of stop is what? Divieto di sosta is what? Prohibition of what? Parking. So we are not allowed to park on this road. So on the side where the sign is positioned, it is exactly where we are not allowed to park. Where the sign prohibition of parking is positioned, we can do fermata. We can do what? Fermata. Why? Because sosta, it is for a longer period of time, a week or a days, you can park your vehicle there. So where the sign of divieto di sosta is, you can do what? Stop your vehicle, because stopping is just for few minutes, which is 14 minutes that I told you. Okay. So where it is divieto, so now this one is very important that you get it right. Strade urbane. Strade urbane. Sosta. Strade urbane, which is sosta vietata. Now, this sosta vietata, because it can have a time limit. In the city we are talking about. So it works from where? In the day, it works from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That is if they add a time to it. That is a panello integrativo, okay? Then in the night, it works how? 24/7, meaning we are not allowed to park there no matter what, because of the panello integrativo position below. So it does not have a time limit because of the panello integrativo added to it. In the city, this is how valid it is. Strade extraurbane. Divieto permanente di sosta, meaning we are not allowed to do what? To park on this road, on the side of the road, on the extraurbane. Okay. Now we have the different, let me say, sides and how it works, how the divieto di sosta works. The first one is when the arrow goes up, it means the beginning of the prohibition of parking. When the arrow goes to the left and right, it means the proseguimento or the continuation, which is the continuazione. The fine is the end when the arrow goes downwards. Is that clear for everyone? So where divieto di sosta is, we cannot park. But after a junction, we are allowed to park because the divieto di sosta is not being repeated there. Now, what is going on here? Where divieto di sosta is, we cannot park, but we can do what? Fermata. Where divieto di sosta is, we cannot park, but we can do what? Fermata. Is that clear? So you see, it works before. So where the divieto di sosta is, the vehicle can stop or can even park there. But after the divieto di sosta, no one is allowed to park because it means that is when the sign is working, where the sign works. Now, the divieto di sosta is positioned on the left side, meaning no vehicle is allowed to park on the left side, but they can park on the right side. Why? Because, just as I told you, divieto di sosta, divieto di fermata, all these signs works exactly where or on the side of the road where it is positioned. So the question may refer to you that if the divieto di sosta is positioned on the left side of the carreggiata, we are allowed to park on the right side? The answer is what? It is vero, because on the right side, there is no divieto di sosta. We are not allowed to park on a curve, even though the divieto di sosta sign is not positioned. Why? Because by law, we already know that we are not allowed to park on a curve, neither to stop even there. So imagine to park. Eccetto. The eccetto, what does it mean? It means no vehicles are allowed to park here except for buses, because it is a parking area reserved for buses. Is that clear? Welcome, Brother Christian. Welcome. Christian Upon is the new teacher coming. Very powerful one. You people are going to love his teaching. It's so powerful. Me, I'm not doing anything here. I'm just joking. This guy, Christian Upon, when you people see this guy's teaching, you know that this guy is a teacher. Christian Upon is the man. Okay, let's move forward. So, the divieto di sosta here, it is On working days, so prohibition of parking on working days. That's how we see two hammer that have crossed together. From 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Very simple. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay. So apart from that specific time, everyone else is allowed to park there. Now, this one is festive days, Saturday, Sunday, and also other festive days. Prohibition of parking from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So apart from this time, every other vehicle can park there. Very good. When they add the rimozione forzata, pannello integrativo rimozione forzata, the vehicle will be removed if you park on that road where these two signs are located. Is that clear for everyone? Of course, here too, you are not allowed to park around from Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. I repeat, you are not allowed to park from Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. Why? Because they will be cleaning the road. Divieto di sosta temporaneo. Okay, it's just a temporary prohibition of parking because of the cleaning, which will be done on the road. Very good. Passo carabile, which is positioned on private properties where we are not allowed to park, but we are allowed to stop. Okay, we are not allowed to park, but we are allowed to stop. Very simple. Passo carabile. Very good. Which is the entrance of a private property. Sosta consentita a particolari categorie, which is parking allowed for only categories, specific categories of vehicles, which is ordinary cars cannot park there, but vehicles that are transporting disabled people can park. Okay, that's the meaning of this sign. And this is where you see it in reality on the road. Very good. Make sure you like the video. Now we are going on. Regolazione flessibile della sosta in centro abitato. I repeat, regolazione flessibile della sosta in centro abitato, meaning parking is prohibited from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Parking is prohibited from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Parking, which is the P, parking is allowed from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Parking is allowed from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. Is that clear? It's very simple. So here it is. So how I explained it to you is just how it works. So when the question asks you, you just have to focus on what the question is saying to know whether they are talking about parking and they are giving you the right time. Parqueggio is the P. Whenever you see the P blue, it means free parking zone. Okay, free parking zone. Very good. Where you have to park in the casella, okay, or in the celle del parcheggio. Very good. So in the parking, we can have all these things attached to it, meaning them showing us how the parking is regulated, and also with the parkimetro telling us the time limit for us to park there. It can be 1 hour or 2 hours. Okay, so after those hours, we'll have to remove our vehicle, which is the P blue. Okay, parkimetro. Okay, and the parking also can be allowed to specific vehicles, which will be designed below the sign. So preavviso di parcheggio, just alerting us of the parking area position on the right side. Alerting us of the parking area position on the right side, ahead of us at 300 meters. So here it is. So the parking is positioned at the right side. Very good. So I believe you have learned something this morning. If you have learned something, just let me know that you have learned something. Thank you all for watching. This is the end of the Segnale di Divieto. For all those that are on YouTube that don't want to join the class or more, the next teachings, everything will be only for those that are part of the class. And even those that are part of the class, they have a limitation. They know. They know. Because this is a new series I'm doing, which is the overtaking. The overtaking to help you accelerate. God bless you all. The next live will start in just 5 minutes. Okay, so I'll be sending you the link in the group again. God bless you.